Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump both campaigning today with 97 days to go until the election.
The former president spoke at the National Association for Black Journalists, a conference happening in Chicago this afternoon. Mr. Trump was asked if Vice President Harris was only on the ticket because she is a black woman. Here is part of how he responded.
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
Vice President Kamala Harris, of course, is biracial.
Yeah, let's bring in Hallie Jackson. She's NBC News' senior Washington correspondent, anchor of Hallie Jackson Now. Hallie, that interview just happened within the last couple of hours, and it's already getting a lot of attention. It was heated from the start. He was contentious with the woman asking the questions. What else did we hear?
Yeah, listen, Kate, you're exactly right, Nzingle. Contentious really from the jump, coming out immediately and taking exception to the question posed by Rachel Scott of ABC News, a journalist who covers Washington and the Trump campaign, along with two other journalists who were on that stage. He played a little bit of one of the remarks that's getting a lot of attention regarding Vice President Harris's race and how she identifies. And I will tell you that based on our team's reporting here, those close to the vice president, those inside Harris world, are calling what happened at this National Association of Black Journalists conference a disaster. I think we have a little bit more to play of the former president's interactions here on stage. Watch. I think we actually do not have that, but I will go on to tell you that he also talked about other topics, including what's getting some attention, remarks about his running mate, J.D. Vance. He was pressed repeatedly about those comments that his now current, of course, GOP vice presidential nominee said about people who do not have children, the description from 2021 of so-called childless cat ladies. And the former president, again, defended Vance on this, and then also suggested that a vice presidential selection, in his view, does not really matter, Kate Nzingle, from a political perspective. He went on to say that other than, in his view, the initial bump that you get from announcing a running mate, typically people are voting for who was at the top of the ticket as president and not for that vice presidential selection. So an interesting dynamic here. It's not something that you often hear. Somebody, saying that the running mate is irrelevant in the political sphere, but that is what the former president suggested today. I will also note that we were just getting word in the last couple of minutes. You may have noticed if you watched that convention at all, that panel discussion, it was cut short somewhat abruptly. It started quite late, apparently, according to the former president's team, because of audio issues. And one of the journalists on stage suggested that she also was having some audio issues there. That we are just hearing from the former president's team that they basically cut it short and moved on because they had a rally to get to. They're obviously in Pennsylvania tonight. They've got a key battleground rally there, but they cut that short to be able to get to that rally, pointing out that the event started some 40 minutes late. But I will say, I have to say, watching it, it reminded me a little bit of the kind of Donald Trump that we saw back in his 2015, 2016 campaign days. Just very combative, very contentious, right from the beginning, Kate Nzingle.
Yeah, no, certainly. And his presence there drawing controversy, even protest outside of the convention. Hallie, let's back up big picture here when we're looking at the election. We are just 10 days into this new presidential race. How have the campaign strategies beyond the people, right? How have the strategies shifted when it comes to policy issues like the economy, like the border, like abortion?
Yeah, there's a couple of big ones here. So let's start with the two that Americans say is really going to drive them to the polls come November. It's obviously, as you mentioned, the economy and inflation, with some news on that today that the Fed chair, Jay Powell, said they are not cutting interest rates right now, but suggesting that rate cuts could come possibly in September. A super interesting dynamic from a policy perspective, just given that that is obviously in the fall of a presidential campaign year. So watching to see sort of how the economy moves. Democrats obviously hoping that things improve, that inflation continues to go down. That would be a boost to them potentially. But you've got the former president and his team continuing to hammer what they see as the sort of Biden-Harris agenda on the economy. On immigration, we're seeing some interesting dynamics with the Trump campaign continuing to lean into the border, continuing to describe Kamala Harris as the one who was tasked with leading the White House and the administration on immigration issues. You saw a bit of a different tone from Kamala Harris at her rally yesterday in Georgia, taking that head on and flipping the script to a degree, as did Mark Kelly from Arizona, the senator there, of course, a border state, suggesting that it's in fact Donald Trump who ended up killing a plan, a bill in Congress that would have, in their view, solved some of these border issues. So I do think you're seeing more of a clash on that topic, likely more to come, guys.
More to come on all of it. Hallie Jackson, we'll have you back for that. Hallie, thanks so much. Don't miss Hallie coming up on Hallie Jackson Now, streaming live starting 5 p.m. Eastern on NBC News Now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.